That's Hobby News. We're going to move on to our second edition of Hobby Deep Dive, where it's our opportunity to learn more about key NHL veterans and legends that, well, we either don't talk about often or just haven't had a chance to dive into their background and their sort of hobby status. So just like with last week, we threw up a poll on Instagram, put up 4 choices, let you guys choose the Hobby Deep Dive candidate for today's show. So we had 4, here's our 4 candidates. We did Nathan MacKinnon, Nikita Kucherov, David Pastrnak, and Artemi Panarin.
I would like to say the Gongshow audience just let me down with Kucherov. That's sad. 17%. Come on. Kucherov's our boy.
Yeah.
You want to learn about the world's best defenseman, right? You got to go for Kucherov. Just kidding. I know he's not.
People just don't appreciate defense, Troy.
Yeah, that's what that is. We know he's a forward.
So MacKinnon came out 44% of the vote, followed by Pastrnak with 26%. Then Kucherov at 17% and Panarin at 12%. Kind of interesting on the Panarin front is that we'll hear often that why don't you give more love to Panarin?
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep throwing him in there.
I was going to say, you get no love, and now you definitely get no love even on our polls to get love. So that's kind of funny.
Good amount of response too. So again, thank you to everyone for voting. So of course
10,
that makes
10,000 responses or what?
I think 150 million people voted.
Nice.
Yeah. That makes Nathan MacKinnon
from
our
Dublin.
Second Hobby Deep Dive player.
There he is. He's ready. He can't wait to
Pretty
learn
happy
about himself.
This too.
Yeah.
He's been so good in the past probably 2.5 years now.
Yep.
And there's still very little hobby interest in him, which makes no sense at all. So that's why I was excited for the opportunity maybe to learn a little bit more, dig into that, and try to do our best to figure out why.
I know we've said it, but once you go through all the stuff and then you get to the top 6 sales, it's just flabbergasting. It's just what? Are you kidding me? That I can get that card for that much money? Okay.
Mm-hmm. So Nathan MacKinnon's 28 years old. He's originally from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Plays center for your Colorado Avalanche.
All right.
Sidney Crosby
formerly Quebec Nordiques.
Long time ago. Sidney Crosby is from basically there too, nearby Cole Harbor. I don't know how people term it, but it seems like that maybe Cole Harbor is like adjacent or a suburb or something like that of Halifax.
Do you think it's like the rich neighborhood and like Edina Richfield, where I grew up? I grew up in Richfield, the poor neighborhood. Yeah. Edina was the rich kids. I wonder if that's Halifax versus Cole Harbor.
Well, Crosby and MacKinnon are buddies, just like you and I, Troy. The only difference is they haven't achieved quite as much as we have, but maybe someday for them. So Nathan MacKinnon was a youth hockey star in the Halifax area. Actually played in Cole Harbor, so maybe that was more the Edina area. When he was 11 years old, Troy, he scored just 200 points in 50 games. That's pretty good. Then in his bantam years, he enrolled at the famed Shattuck St. Mary school in / dormitory / hockey academy here in Faribault, Minnesota, where my daughter is right now practicing. We go there all the time because we have not enough ice here, and so we rent their ice for them. It's a ridiculous. It looks like Hogwarts.
I mean, that's what all that money, all that tuition money pays for. And they just built a whole new like athletic center, but surprisingly, their ice rinks are crap. Both of them are kind of dumpy. Well, actually, they have 3, and the 2
they have the JP Parisi ring.
Yeah, and the ice is really bad for what Shattuck should have. They need to work on the ice.
I tell you this all the time. I just love he's got to be like the arena manager. He looks like Brian May from
Rooster.
From
his nickname's Rooster. He's got crazy hair. Yeah.
Crazy curly, but it's like white. It's not. Well, I don't know. Brian May, his hair used to be black. I don't know if it's white now, but yeah.
Oh, it's white. Yeah, it's white.
Okay. So from Faribault and Shattuck, then he went back to the Halifax Mooseheads of the Q, the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League in the CHL. And over a couple of years there, Troy, he averaged 0.62 goals per game, 1.5 points per game. Also led the Mooseheads to their very first Memorial Cup. Cool. He was also named the most valuable player of that tournament, scoring 7 goals, adding 6 assists for 13 points in 4 games. Pretty good. Which led him to be the number 1 overall pick, Troy, in the 2013 NHL entry draft by the Avalanche.
He looks like he's 10.
4.
He just looks like a little kid.
It's like one of like the high school kids like has like a dip in his mouth in the back of the class or something
Yeah.
like that.
Well, then you got Sakic over here looking like he could still be playing.
So I'm always curious, and I do this all the time, but when we talk about like, well, picked 5th or 6th or 7th, 1, in the case of MacKinnon, like, well, who are the top 5 that year? So he went
Yeah.
number 1, Alexander Barkov went 2nd, then Jonathan Drouin, Seth Jones, and Elias Lindholm. So I think the Avalanche
They got it right.
very well. They got the right guy
They got it right.
there. After the draft, MacKinnon pretty much immediately signed a 3-year entry-level contract and made the Avalanche out of training camp to begin the 2013-14 NHL season. So when he made his NHL debut on October 2nd, 2013, he was 18 years old, 31 days, the youngest player in franchise history to play in a game, and he also recorded 2 assists in his first game. During his rookie season, Troy, he also had a 13-game point streak, which is the longest streak for an 18-year-old in NHL history. It's pretty good. Bedard hasn't done that.
Oh, shots fired.
Shots fired. Finished his rookie season with 63 points on 24 goals and 39 assists, good enough to be the youngest player in NHL history to win the Calder Trophy. And looks pretty young. At the start of the 2016 NHL season, so we're fast forwarding a little bit, MacKinnon was named Avalanche alternate captain. He then played in his first All-Star game later that season in 2017. Now, why that might be notable is prior to the end of the next season, he started seeing a sports psychologist, which he credits with helping him dramatically increase his level of play. And when you look at his pedigree and like his sort of year-by-year performance, started to take a big jump at that point. Now, maybe it is the sports psychologist, maybe it's just sort of natural development and aging, growing into his body, all that sort of stuff. But I thought that was kind of interesting. So he finished that 2017 season, 37 goals, 97, and well, not 97 assists, but with 99 points. So it would have been 62 assists for 99 points. And then he had the following season at 93 points. So again, ramped it up from like being like a 60 point per year guy up to 90. But while he was ramping up his numbers, Troy, the Avalanche were not very successful in the playoffs and had a couple of probably disappointing exits. And his frustration really hit a boiling point when his team was eliminated by the Golden Knights during the 2021 NHL playoffs. It's kind of, I think, a lot of people will point to this or call it like a famous quote. But he was asked after that by a reporter, for his thoughts about the loss. And he said, "For sure, there's always next year. That's all we talk about. I feel like," MacKinnon said to reporters, "I mean, I'm going into my 9th year next year and I haven't won SH. That sort of. I'm definitely motivated. It just sucks losing 4 in a row to a team." So he was certainly motivated the next year, and of course helped the Avalanche to his first Stanley Cup victory in the 2022 NHL playoffs. Of course, along with like Cale Makar, Mikko Rantanen et al. And really, since then, I think from both a statistical standpoint, from just respect level, the pundits, he's really been regarded as one of the NHL's most elite players. And really since last year has been in the conversation for best player of the game, right? Legitimately, I think most people would still say McDavid, but at least you can enter MacKinnon's name into that conversation. Last season, Troy finished with a career high in production, scoring 42 goals, adding 69 assists for 111 points. It was his first 100-plus point season. And this year, he's off to an even better start. So through 47 games played, he has 26 goals, 51 assists, 77 points, putting his pace at for the year 45 goals and 134 points, which again would be his best season to date. I don't know if you saw this like a few weeks ago. There's a lot of stats floating around about the 2023 calendar year in which he led all NHL players last year with 135 points, besting McDavid even, who had 129. MacKinnon was second in goals in 2023 with 53 goals, first in shots with 405, and also first in shot attempts with 738. But this is like the best stat that I find really impressive, and you're gonna have to tell me what you think about it, Troy. But last season, so in 2023, the calendar year, which is sort of a made-up time frame because we typically don't evaluate performance, he finished first in the NHL with 80 5-on-5 points. Now, the next closest player had 59.
Yeah, I don't know if 80 is good. Sounds good. It's just, I think the cooler thing is the amount that he beat the next
The
person
spread,
by.
yeah, the
Yeah,
spread
the
between number
spread.
2. That's what I would say as
Mhm.
well. From everything you read and all like the betting odds, he might be the Hart Trophy favorite for the season too. He'll likely battle it out with McDavid, of course, or maybe Matthews over the next few months. So hopefully, what we've established so far is he's a pretty good hockey player. Would you agree?
He's a very good hockey player. If you ever watch him, if you have young kids that are into hockey, have them watch him skate and how fast it takes him like 2 strides and he's at top speed. It's amazing how fast he is.
Lightning fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that now puts us into transitioning to talking about Nathan MacKinnon's hobby market,
Mhm.
which, to put it lightly, has not equaled the level of his play. We'll have a bunch of kind of things to look at here, and then would love to get your thoughts on maybe why. But let's just start like we always do with his Young Guns. 2013 Young Gun, PSA 10, top 1,472, 55% gem rate. Last sold on January 21st for 665 US. Up about 43% in the past 2 weeks, about 48% in the past month. So just in general, it definitely doesn't get sort of the same level of, the pop is given the pop is lower than,
Mhm.
of course, like Crosby or Ovechkin or McDavid or Matthews, right? Just not quite kind of a tier below that, sort of on par with Makar. One thing to know too, well, I guess it is up about 43% in the past 2 weeks and 48% in the past month. He's been literally on fire, so that doesn't surprise me. One thing to know though about this card, if you're not familiar, is that when it was originally produced, there was a I guess called a print imperfection. What people refer to as like the pink swatch or swath that's over
Is it
his like right sleeve and shoulder. Yeah.
is it this thing?
Yeah, and then Upper Deck corrected it
Okay.
and did a separate print run. And so if you're buying a McKinnon Young Guns, the picture of the PSA 10 we show here is more of the
Yeah.
corrected one.
It's like
A lot
one
of times,
color.
yeah, you'll see people that will say like no pink in the title
Yeah.
because the corrected printed version is more desired by collectors.
Yeah, so
And
here
the point there is you don't want to pay the price for a non-pink card if the card is a pink one.
yeah.
That's just something you have to know. Now, if the Young Guns pop count is even at 1,472, is too high for your liking. He was rookie in 2013, as that was one of the 2 years of Panini Prism. So there's a Silver Prism rookie from 2013 Panini Rookie Anthology. This is a pop of 28, and this month a PSA 10 sold for $300.
Wow. It's probably because he looks like he ate 50 cheeseburgers before they took this picture.
Yeah.
That's
Is
a
it Phil
horrible
Kessel?
that's a horrible picture. I don't even know if that's him.
Uh,
It's him, but it's almost like they drew him and they drew him wrong or something. It just looks
like the artist for like the 2013 Marvel PMG ones
yeah,
that movie, it seems
it's
like.
a odd looking photo, but I mean just everything. He looks like I don't know, it's pretty nuts. But
This
yeah,
is a
that's
card
crazy.
though that it's licensed, of course, because Panini had the
Yep.
license. It's a Silver Prism, which is probably the most iconic sports card in all of sports card, modern, ultra modern sports cards. It's got a pop of 28 compared to 1,420 or 72
Mhm.
Young Guns, and it sells for less than half of his Young Guns. I don't know about you, but if I wanted a McKinnon rookie, I would take this card 100 times out of 100 over his base Young Guns. Are you traditionalist and would you go the Young Guns route?
Usually I would take this panini card, but I don't like how it looks. And the pop doesn't really scare me on his base young guns. So I'd probably go for the
Fair
base
enough.
young guns versus this one.
Those are just a couple rookie options. But again, kind of what we alluded to is the most puzzling thing is just how little he's chased in general. So again, while he led all NHL players in scoring in the calendar year 2023, we talked about that.
Hmm.
Nathan, we do like the top ranked players for as far as cards sold. He finished 36th during the year.
Yep.
He had in all of 2023 in the secondary market per card ladder sales history, 4,302 Nathan MacKinnon cards sold. So that's about 10 times less than the Wayne Gretzky cards that sold. Now, and again, it's like, well, of course, more Wayne Gretzky cards are going to sell than Nathan MacKinnon. But here's players that had more cards sell than Nathan MacKinnon last year in 2023. Carey Price, Alexei Lafreniere, Juraj Slavkovsky, Lucas Raymond, Owen Power, Jeremy Swayman. Now, not that these guys are all scrubs, or
Yeah.
I don't mention them too, but we just said Nathan MacKinnon is in the conversation. He's up there with McDavid and Matthews, and I don't know who else. McCarr
He might
maybe
have
is the best.
130 points this year.
Yeah, the best
130.
players in the NHL, and Juraj Slavkovsky, who this the namesake of the Halfkovsky.
There you go. I was going to say it. I was like, we have a term for him of using his name.
It's just wild to me. And then you can look at the lack of MacKinnon market and top end sales as well. So again, in calendar year 2023, 210 MacKinnon cards sold for more than $500 US. Well, without context, it's kind of meaninless, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's 2,710 Connor McDavid cards that sold for more than, so less than 1/10 of the Connor McDavid cards that sold for 500 more or more. 1,468 OV cards sold for 500 US or more. 890 Crosby, 493 McCarr, so 2.5 times more McCarr cards sold, and even 444 for Jack Hughes. Doesn't make sense. Then you already alluded to this, sort of the last kind of data point or
crazy
point of hobby context that we kind of typically go through is we typically look at the top 5 selling cards. I did top 6. I know we've established you're not a fan of the photo, but the number 6 card was so cool to me I had to put it. It's the 2013-14 Panini Prism Gold Prism. So this would be out of 10. Right. BGS 9.5 sold for $4,050 US on October 16th. Is number 5 sales at 2013-14 the Cup RPA out of 99, so true rookie. BGS 810 sold for $4,200 in April.
Yeah.
Then Young Guns exclusives, so that's out of 100. PSA 10 sold for $4,650 US in October 21st. Then you go back to the Cup, a gold rainbow RPA out of 29, hand numbered, so it's out of jersey number. PSA 8 out of 10 sold for $6,000 on May 31st. Number 2 sale was a 2013-14 the Cup, again, RPA at a 99. BGS 910 sold for $9,600 last February. And then it's kind of the same card, just different copy and patch. Really cool patch, like 4 colors, something like that. 2013-14 the Cup, RPA at a 99. BGS 910 sold for $10,260 on in March. Now there were McDavid sales for $200,000 last year. The highest MacKinnon sale, $1,260. If you had to guess, so like if you literally had to, if somebody said, "I need an answer for you, Troy. Why does this guy not have more of a hobby market?" What's your best guess?
I mean, my best guess is probably we know McCarr's there. McCarr blew up and took a lot of the hobby steam that if MacKinnon had any, by the time McCarr blew up, he probably took a lot of it. But again, who else is on Colorado that's a big chase? It's McCarr, MacKinnon, I guess.
And then there's Rantanen, which he scores 55 goals and literally doesn't exist in the minds of the hobby.
Yeah, either. And also, I'm going to be honest, MacKinnon, do you ever see him on TV, his personality? I know he has one. I've actually seen interviews with him and
He's kind of fiery, kind of crabby, and
he's dry, like very dry sense of humor maybe, but he's kind of goofy, but you never see it. You never see it on TV. His interviews like on the ice are kind of boring. Obviously, I don't think he has a huge social media presence, I don't think. And I'm guessing that's probably part of it too.
Yeah, I wonder if he's another guy that the casual hockey fan could pick out of a lineup.
Like if probably not. Street clothes. Yeah, probably not. And I was looking at his stats, and I know there was a lot of rumblings before he won the Cup, though, that he was going to be one of these greats that never won the Cup, and maybe that affected him because he was around for a while before they finally won the cup. And his season totals, his first 4 or 5 years, I mean, not till 2017-18 did he get to 97 points.
He got the sports psychologist. That's what happened.
I know. But I'm saying maybe that 5 or 1, 2, 3, those 4 previous years kind of soured him a little, coming out with such hype in the draft and not scoring 75, 80 points. I don't know. But that's what I kind of chalk it up to. Maybe all 3 of those things, 4 of those things.
It's a good market, right?
Yeah. Well, it's a good market, but again, it's not Montreal. It's not Toronto. I mean, they're probably like us, right? Denver, Minnesota. I feel like I know we're the state of hockey and everything, but it's not like, I don't know. I feel like
I think though it's more the sort of marketability, the embracing media, embracing your personality. Like, look how much bigger of a star Trevor Zegras is, and Anaheim's not a good hockey market.
No, he's just a goofball.
Yeah, it's not horrible. But so there's our hobby deep dive on Nathan MacKinnon. We'll probably be back next week with 4 other candidates. I love doing these. It's a lot of fun.